Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, called it disappointing that Democrats are sending money to less people than former President Trump's administration with its COVID relief bill, while the current 1.9 trillion proposal includes $1,400 stimulus checks, higher than the 600 and 1,200 approved in previous stimulus bills last year. It also includes tighter caps on who would receive a partial check. Individuals making up to 75,000 would be eligible for the full stimulus check, while those making between 80,000 and 100,000 or couples making double that will get no money, despite getting partial checks in previous bills. I see it as a really disappointing development. We obviously are now ultimately sending money to less people than the Trump administration and the Senate majority Republicans, Omar said Friday in an interview on CNN. This is not the promise that we made. This is not what we are given the opportunity to be in the majority in the Senate and to have the White House, Omar continued. And so ultimately, it is a failure when we compromise ourselves out of delivering on behalf of the American people and keeping our promises. Omar noted that millions of fewer people would receive checks under the current proposal, which Democrats will ultimately have to explain. The last checks that we were able to send had given 17 million more people than what we will ultimately do with the caps now. And that is going to be something that we're going to have to explain. I don't know if many of us have a logical explanation on why we are delivering less than than the Republicans are willing to compromise us on delivering on the American people. So I find this story partially amusing and very disturbing. Um, I talked about how the Democrats used COVID as a means to get the Senate. So in Georgia, you had Ossoff and Warnock, and they were running on $2,000 checks. And then right after they won, Manchin came out and said he wasn't voting for that. Then he came out against raising minimum wage. Pretty much anything that a lot of progressives in the Democratic Party and that are in Congress would support, he spat in the face of. And it wasn't just him. We had 8 senators vote against minimum wage this week. But what I think is very interesting, right, is that when you complain about, and you've seen this from some of the commentators that have talked about this stuff, people like Sanders or any of the other progressives are just, individuals that are on the side of people need as much help as they can get. When you complain about the bill not being enough, the bill not doing as much as it should, you have these people who say, "Oh, but it's been months and people need something, so just pass this. Come on, just give them something." And it's so crazy because it's like they've sat here for months and they've allowed this to happen. These different individuals who are calling for this subpar COVID relief package to be signed into law so quickly, and now they're trying to pretend that they're these expedited supporting bill people. They're like, "Oh yeah, this needs to come out now." Oh, what's that? I was silent for all the months that they weren't passing anything. Oh, you see how convenient it gets that when you want things in this bill that they don't want, then they start telling you about the need to pump something out after Congress has spent literally months not passing anything over and over again. Just this back and forth of nothing passing. And like I said, what really pisses me off about Biden, right, is he talks about how Trump botched COVID, right? Just the response to it altogether. But then you're over here giving less people aid than the person who botched it. So if he messed up, you made the biggest error of a lifetime by that logic. But again, people voted for this, so they're just going to keep getting their trash.